when your answer for if I had all the money in the world is the same answer when I have no money in the world, you've discovered a calling. Because when I have all the money in the world is I have a freedom of choice. When I have no money, I have to create survivability. But if the answer is the same vocation, then that's a calling. Well, I was given the gift. I had a belief I had all the money in the world. And I said to myself, you know what? I'd be an author. When I had no money in the world, I said, you know what? I'm going to be an author because I can make money. I'm going to find a way to make money this way. And then when I saw a congruency in the answer, I was like, that's it.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Matt Shoup, and I'm here in the most uncomfortably tight t-shirt given to me by Mike Michalowicz. We are going to talk all about writing, authorship, speaking, small business, and some highly inappropriate things that you have to tune in and check out. Mike Michalowicz.
Dude.
What's up, man?
Good to see you, bro.
Is this going to be a disaster?
Yeah, well, I thought we started the show like an hour ago. I thought we were just rolling into it. So, let me do the introduction again. This show is going to be a disaster. You're
Absolutely.
welcome. You're welcome.
Man, you and I have known each other over a decade.
Yeah, we met, I think, through EO indirectly.
Mm-hmm. When you wrote Toilet Paper Entrepreneur, we met. You were on a crowdsourcing blog site to promote your book. And I found you through Haro and wrote for whatever that crowdsourcing blog site was. I don't remember the name. That's right, dude. It was forever ago.
So I did a Haro trick.
Yep.
So Haro was the guy's name was Peter Shankman. And he started this thing where he was connecting journalists with sources. I think it was a brilliant idea. And so what I realized initially was, I can respond to some of these inquiries and maybe get an article or two. And then it's like, the bigger opportunity is to be the journalist. Then I found this is the hack. So I'd send out requests saying, hey, I'm looking for this content and so forth. And it was a great way to connect with people. I think that's how we connected.
Yeah.
I then found that if you want to give exposure to something, you put a stop request. So I noticed that like the Wall Street Journal or something put a request out saying, we're seeking people with experience in XYZ. And then they put the next morning, it said stop responding or something, but it was in big text. And there's a specific term to it, which tells people to no longer send in submissions. They're overwhelmed. So I was like, that's a social proof mechanism if you put a stop request in, and it's like basically an advertisement. So I said, seeking stories for my next book, whatever it may be, All In or something. Then the next day I'd put a stop request saying, we've received too many stories for All In, stop. And I put in like 3 stops in a row. It was like free marketing.
Sold out, right?
Yeah, sold out. It wasn't about selling out. It was just basically I got all the requests I needed. The book is now submitted for publishing. It was a great way to give the book exposure, and yeah, it worked.
Yeah, and that was when we met. That was forever ago. And then we found out that we're both from Jersey. You stayed there. I left there.
Which town specifically were you in?
Montclair.
That's right. Yeah, I met your teacher.
Yeah.
She's a beautiful human.
Yep.
I think there's some people in our lives that we run into that have a transformative effect of such significance that it transcends just how she served you.
Yeah.
Your children, Riley, Haley, they're changed people because of her.
Yes.
You know?
Oh yeah. Yeah, she was a big part of my story and just being there in it for it. But man, love to hear your story because everybody knows you and Profit First in your books. You've sold over 1 million books, which is amazing. And you didn't sell a lot of books when you wrote your first book, and you've had a crazy authorship journey. You've learned a lot. Yeah. You're doing a lot for the business community, authorship community, just the business community in general. But where'd you get started, man? Like, what were those initial inklings of being an entrepreneur?
Oh, I don't know. It's not like most stories. I think like your story, a lot of guys I met, and when I say guys, this is New Jersey talk, that's any human being on this planet, however you identify, is a guy. And most are coming from a point of struggle or retaliation, a necessity. I had to survive. I grew up very middle income. I would say middle to upper middle. And so it was very comfortable. There was no entrepreneurial genes in my recent family history. So my parents were not entrepreneurs by a stretch. They both had jobs in the traditional sense. And that's what I expected to do. But then when I graduated college, I couldn't get a job, like a good one. I got a job in a computer store. And that's a good job. I'm not denying that, but it wasn't what I expected. It wasn't the corporate job, one job for the rest of your life. And then one day with admittedly a few too many drinks in me, I was like, gosh, the dude I work for makes all the money. I should be doing this. So I started my own business. Totally clueless. Had no idea what I was doing. I was hungover the next morning and burned the bridges. I called him and said, I'm out of here. I'm going to start my own business. You hooligan. The exact words I used was hooligan. And
Call him a hooligan?
I called him I said, you're a big ass hooligan. And I said, I don't stand for hooligans. And I sent him an awkwardly typed t-shirt like you're wearing.
We got to get this out of the way for people watching this.
Oh, have we not mentioned it yet?
If you're listening to this, you can't see this right here.
So when you were kind enough to pick me up this morning at the hotel, I see you coming. I wing this gift at you across the lobby. You artfully try to catch it and drop it. You step on it. So now it has like a footprint on it.
On the back?
On the back of it. And I'm like, dude, this is a gift for you. And in my head, I'm like, he's a large. I wear large is this size, which is to totally digress. I don't know how they determine shirt sizes, but I'm like frail. Like my body type is frail, and yet it's called large. So that's already a misnomer. So I'm like, oh, you're not frail, but I'm like, he's probably a large. No, you're beefy. It's the right term for you. I'm frail, you're beefy. And so you wear a different size shirt than me. So now this thing is awkwardly tight on your beefy body. On a frail body, that thing's like a parachute though. It's like that one shirt fits nobody. I gave you the shirt that fits not a single human being, Matt.
But I'm wearing it. I'm wearing it proud.
You're wearing it.
Wearing it proud.
If your wife wears it, it's a nightgown. Mm-hmm. I wear it, it's a parachute. You wear it and it's like a tutu. It's like,
a tutu.
It doesn't work for anybody. It's the worst gift ever. And then on the front, I'm just going to read. It says, I spent the day with Mike Michalowicz and all I got was this lousy t-shirt. And then below it says, honestly, it's more value than I expected from him. That's the lamest sense of humor.
But I love it. I'm happy you're here, man.
Dude, I love you, man. I love you.
Thanks for being here. So, man, we've known each other like close to 2 decades, right?
Yeah.
Been in the business trenches. You've been a huge part of my authorship journey and just business journey. But like what, so you get into business, you call your boss a hooligan. Hey, I think I can do this better than you.
Yeah.
Or make all the money. And you actually grew a really successful computer software company. Like not really knowing much, right?
Not knowing much.
So how'd you do that?
I followed the Matt Shoup technique of you got to make this work.
Okay.
So I started the business. I don't know, maybe you know this. I got married when I was 23. I adopted my oldest son. And so now my wife and I and my son Tyler, we're living together and I'm starting a new business. When you have 3 mouths to feed, when we have 1 mouth to feed, it's scary. When you got 3 mouths to feed, it's like panic. So it's a great motivator. I was working constantly. And what's interesting is even if you work this is a great entrepreneurial lesson for me at least, is even if you work ineffectively, you have no clue what you're doing, if you put in enough hours, if you log enough hours, you're going to have some wins, even no matter how dopey you are. And so, this big frail dope is just working like an animal. And yeah, I got a nut every so often, like a squirrel. If you dig enough, you'll get a nut. And so the danger of that though, is I thought that's the way you grow businesses. It's just work like an animal and business will grow. There's a certain point where it's exhaustive. It's not sustainable, but in the immediate short term, it works. So that's what I did.
So you sold that company, right?
Yeah.
Did you intend to sell it or did you get approached?
No, I didn't intend to sell it. I got approached. It was a current partner of mine and basically a private equity deal. So they packaged something together. Here was the precipice of it. I was talking with a partner there and I said, we got to grow this thing big. I didn't understand profitability at this point. I just thought, if we got to 20 million or whatever my number was, 25 million, we have to make it. Like we're going to be rich. And his response was, I'm comfortable. We have a very comfortable lifestyle. I don't want to work more. And so I'm like, well, one of us got to go because we're going to grow or someone's going to go. So he said, then you should go and I'll buy you out. I'm like, oh, okay. That's a deal. Cause I started a new business right after that. It was a good deal. It was a good exit.
So he bought you out then. So that was the sale.
He bought me out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Bought me a house.
Dang.
That's how, yeah.
And then you started investing. You were an angel investor.
Angel investor. Worst angel. I had another business before that, and then I became an angel investor. I was the worst ever. Have you ever done that? Ever invested, so to speak, in other businesses?
Not in another company. No, not one that I didn't have day to day in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're smart.
How'd that go?
You're beefy and smart.
Beefy and smart.
I'm frail and stupid. It's like, this is a great combination. It's like a jigsaw.
This.
So it didn't go well. I didn't, I had an appeal to the label. It sounded like another notch of success. It's not. You know, it's another business. And so I started putting money into these companies from what I did. I sold 2 companies before that, and I started putting this money in and just blew the money. One company was, they made a shaker for protein mixes and stuff like that. It was an innovative idea. I had no manufacturing experience, no idea how to outsource to China. I'm like, that's a good idea. We should do that. Another guy, he was smart. He had the Blue Apron concept. He called it a touch of romance, or a taste of romance. And he'd make this pre-made meal. It came with a candle and some like linen napkins and so forth. And you would say you want to have a romantic dinner with your wife. He would FedEx it to you, and all you have to do is heat this thing up, and it's like this Valentine's Day dinner made by you, but it's Blue Apron. You just do like 3 steps, and it's amazing. No idea on how those logistics work. No idea on how to cost it. You know, to spec out the costs and so forth and margins. And that was just, there was another company that was making jewelry. Another one was making leather products. Like this is all over the place. And they all collapsed. And I just kept on blowing money. I also was spending money on like the effects. I wanted the cool car, you know. I wanted the bigger house, and you know. I'll tell you something, dude. You have something to say? You just cleared your throat.
No.
Oh, I thought you were trying to get my attention.
No.
Am I talking too much?
You're great, man. Keep on.
Okay. I'm just fucking with you.
We're explicit now, Joey.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I say that?
No, we can. Yeah, all the F words you want, man. No,
I was just being.
We're just explicit now.
Okay, I didn't mean.
Now the little children,
I ruined your show.
The little children can't listen. To
yes, 90% of your listeners just dropped out.
It's the jiu-jitsu class.
Yeah. Keep it going. Keep it going.
Keep it going. Okay, Joey will fix that.
Nah, I'm not. Like, I want you to continue to curse.
Okay,
be yourself.
Okay, yeah, I'm trying to actually curse less. This is another little boring aside. So, what was the boring story I was telling you? You cleared your throat. I thought that was interesting. I was trying to be funny.
We were talking about
angel investing.
You were dropping a lot of money on material possessions.
Yeah,
and then it led us to that.
Okay, yeah. Then you cleared your throat and you ruined the whole show, Matt.
See, look what happened.
God,
this is a mess, man.
I told you from the beginning this would be a disaster, and we're right now in the pinnacle of disasterness. I mean, look at us, like 2 clowns. So I started blowing the money. And what I found, there's a story about poker. Do you play poker?
No.
Oh, dude, next time you're in Jersey, come play poker.
Okay.
I love guys who've never played poker before. I got a chance.
Take my money.
Yeah, I'll take your money. Bring $20. There's a rule in poker that if you and I were playing poker together and I have a weak hand, so you have aces in your hand, pocket aces, and I got nothing. I will bluff you off the table. The only way I can win the pot is by acting brash, by being big, like, these cards, I don't know, Matty. I don't know what you're doing. It's the psychology to scare you off the table.
Yep.
It's bluffing. So when you have a weak hand, you bluff. But if I just say I have the pocket aces and you got nothing, then I'm like, yeah, my card, it's kind of weak. It's typical me, frail Mike. You know, I really should fold. But you kind of hang around and linger because I want you betting the big money because I know I'm going to take you down. Dude, that is the explanation of life. You see these guys walking around like they got the jet in the background. They got the fancy car. I'm like, oh, they're struggling. I don't know if they're struggling financially. Maybe they can quote unquote afford it, but there's something missing that you have to show that off. There's some reason you're bluffing. The most successful people I know don't have to put on any air of success. They actually just don't care. It's like, whatever. You know, this is me.
And you'd never know it.
You'd never know it.
Them too.
You'd never know it. They dress how they want to dress. They act the way they want to act. But there's no need. They're not yearning for acknowledgement. And to me, that's what success is. So we were talking about this in the car on the ride up. When we were listening to that AI stuff, we were talking about this kind of compulsion that some consumers have from gurus or experts because they are seen as successful. They have it's inevitably the private jet. So stupid. Or it's the expensive cars, and it's the big house. and thinking, oh, I need to emulate these people. And those people are displaying that because they're bluffing you in some capacity. They're displaying that because they're going to hook you in to stay on the table, and they're going to take you down. I know a lot of good people that are getting hammered by this. What I find is the most successful people are contributors. They're just out there putting good stuff out.
Yeah.
Some of the people I admire, Peter Attia, do you know this guy? He's a health guy.
No.
Okay. You want to shed
do I look like?
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
want to shed
I'm
the tent.
obviously not listening
Yeah, listen
to
to
the
him.
health.
The guy puts out great stuff. There's another guy, Andrew Huberman. They run in the exact same space.
Yep.
Just put out good stuff. Those people are also wildly successful. Yet the air is not, look how much I've achieved and the stuff I've accumulated. There's like, I'm so passionate about my subject. I'm going to give you everything I know about it. And in return, everyone wants to support them and engages with them. And I see it. Those are just two guys that are kind of celebrities in that knowledge space of health. I see it in all these different categories. There's some people in the entrepreneurial space that are such great contributors and just putting great stuff out there. There's one problem, and I was sharing this in the car too. I meet with people that have the same potential to be of great impact that say, I don't want to be the jet bro-y dude.
Yeah.
And therefore I'm not going to do it. I'm like, you're not going to get exposure. No, I'm not going to put stuff out there because I don't want to be that guy. I'm like, it's such a shame because you're the good guy that could transform the world by putting goodness out there, but you're shirking that responsibility because you don't want to look like a toolbox.
Yeah.
And my gosh, I'm telling people, your job is not to take them down, and your job is not to fight the way they're fighting, but your job is to put out such goodness that you elbow out the badness. Or my rant's over.
Yeah, but you talk about that just being authentically you and stepping into that space and being you, delivering value, putting others first, and it comes back.
Yeah.
Now, would you say back in the day when you were the angel investor, I mean, you had that puffed up bravado, like you didn't have
I was
any
bluffing
inches,
the whole
but you're
time.
Like, I got nothing. And then your daughter comes, was it like Valentine's Day with the
Yeah,
piggy
yeah,
bank?
yeah.
Tell that story, because I mean that was one of the first times I heard you get pretty emotional about your journey.
Yeah.
you
And
know?
I'll share a little predecessor because you may not have heard me share this. I don't know if I told you this before, and I rarely talk about it, but now I feel more compelled because this is actually the bigger thing. I believed my own bull. I did think I was successful. So that's the ultimate bluff. When you bluff yourself, you are totally in deep. And so I'm like, I am successful, Matt. I'm like the definition. And look at all the stuff I'm doing. And so I'm trying to validate myself, but I have to hear the feedback. So I do more dumb things, spend more money, acquire more things to show you that I'm successful. So I hear from you I'm successful, and then I believe I'm successful, so I have to do more of it. So it becomes this weird trap. The douchiest thing, like a total douche canoe move I did. Do you know what douche canoe is?
I'm about to find out.
You're looking at him. You're looking at him. It's me.
Canoe.
You never heard douche canoe?
No.
It looks like me.
Okay.
I'm a douche canoe. Because what I did, my wife and I, after I sold my second company, we go to a Land Rover dealer, and I'm like, she wanted a Land Rover, and I'm like, of course, baby, whatever you want, you know. And she looks at me and she goes, "Are you sure we can afford this?" And I said, it's actually very difficult for me to say now because I'm so embarrassed. I said, "We have more money than God." Exact words. I know, and you're making a face. Dude, I'm not religious in that I follow religious protocol. I believe deeply in God. And when I said that, all of a sudden I felt a wind come out of me. I was like, oh, what the hell just happened? Like I felt something. And I'm like, oh. I regret deeply because that's when then I went on a path of a calling. So I say we have more money than God. Then God says, okay, good. Thanks for saying that, Mike. Here we go. Let me teach you a little lesson on what it means to be fulfilled and so forth. And I'm going to strip everything away. You're going to strip everything away, Mike, and we're just going to, help you in the process and just let this go. So I start spending accordingly and so forth. And then within 2 years, it's all gone. Rock bottom. I come home to my family on February 14th, Valentine's Day, to tell them, because I just had heard from my accountant that I have to declare bankruptcy or skip paying taxes because I didn't have enough money to pay taxes and I had no money left. I didn't do either, by the way. I got a third out, which was basically sell off the few remaining assets I had to pay the bills as best I could, and then sit on hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt.
Yeah.
Another story you may not know is days before that, I met with my EO forum, and we did this thing called Financially Naked. And what it was each person stood up and you put all your numbers on the wall, and you talk about it, and you talk about your final number. So guy one goes and he's like $7 million is his. He goes, after I did my final analysis, I'm worth $1 million currently.
Right.
No, whatever. Next guy goes $3 million. Another person goes $2 million. This woman goes $4 million. So everyone has like $1 million. I'm the last one to go. I go up there. I'll never forget this too. I put a 0 up there, and I sit there and I start crying. And I said, I wish I had that much. And I'm like, what's going on, man? I'm like, I think I have about $350,000 debt. And it was devastating. Later that week is when I told my family. I hadn't told my family yet. And I went to my family, and I came home that day on February 14th and said, we're losing our house. We did lose it. It's all over. My daughter, she was 9, Adela. She ran to her bedroom. I thought in the moment she was running away from me. She ran to her bedroom to grab her piggy bank, and she came back to me and she said, I can't remember her exact words. It was, a 9 years old words, but she put the money on the table, the piggy bank on the table. She said, Daddy, use my money. I'll save us. I'll save us. There was this desperation in her face. She was so scared for us, but she also believed that she could save us. And you know what? She did. I was so ashamed of who I was, what I brought upon my family. I terrified them. I'd been lying by omission. No one knew what was going on. And now it was all out in the open. And that's the day that I think God finished that lesson of I have more money than God, than a little lesson time, Mike. And it started this turn. The other thing is the next morning, I think people confuse like, oh, good, man. Your deepest moment, and now you're on this journey to fulfillment and happiness. No, I started boozing. I was like, I'm going to get drunk because there's a power in alcohol that it numbs things for a little bit.
Yeah.
It feels pretty good.
Yeah.
So I was like, this feels good. I never drank like I was addicted, but definitely felt good doing that. And went through 2 years of depression. I never got to a therapist. I was never diagnosed, but I was definitely in at least functional depression. But it was in that journey that I said, well, when you have nothing, it's so funny. People say, if you had all the money in the world, Matt, what would you do? I'm actually curious. What would you do if you had all the money in the world?
I'd keep doing this.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I'd go to Spain a little bit more.
Yeah, you totally would.
Yeah.
You'd have an office
I
in
would
Spain.
I would do what I'm doing. I don't think I would change a thing.
I love it.
Yeah.
So here's the counter question. If you had no money in this world, you have 0, what would you do?
I would figure out why what I'm doing isn't making money, and make sure
Yeah.
it's making money. I still love what I do.
Yeah.
I feel like at that point, if I had to pause something that wasn't making money to go make money, like you got to
gotta
figure out
survive.
a way. You got to figure out a way. Yeah.
Here's what I found out about those questions. Everyone asked the first one. If you had all the money in the world, what would you do?
Right.
That's easy.
Yeah.
Because there's no consequence. The question, if you had no money in this world, it forces the consideration of survival. I need to do something that creates income. So here's what I found.
I might sell this shirt.
You should. It fits nobody, dude. If you can find one guest, one human being on the planet that can wear this awkwardly fitted shirt, I'd be shocked. Like your nips are going to leave this impression. Like it's going to be like a Madonna shirt. Remember when she had that cone shirt?
The cones, yeah.
Yeah, you're basically cone man.
This is going to be my 15 minutes, Mike. Thank you.
You're welcome. So here's what I found about that question, Mr. Nip, is when your answer for if I had all the money in the world is the same answer when I have no money in the world, you've discovered a calling. Because when I have all the money in the world is I have a freedom of choice. When I have no money, I have to create survivability. But if the answer is the same vocation, then that's a calling. Well, I was given the gift. I had a belief I had all the money in the world. And I said to myself, you know what? I'd be an author. when I had no money in the world, I said, you know what? I'm going to be an author because I can make money. I'm going to find a way to make money this way. And then when I saw a congruency in the answers, like, that's it.
Is the paint or roof on your home or business starting to look a little shabby? If so, reach out to one of our sponsors, M&D Painting and Roofing. M&D Painting and Roofing is a full-service residential and commercial painting and roofing contractor in Northern Colorado. And full disclosure, I'm the M in M&D. Check them out at mndepainting.com. Are you a small business trying to navigate all of the landscape of digital marketing and don't know where to go? Reach out to one of our sponsors, Imprint Digital. They are the go-to source for all things digital marketing. They are the producers of this podcast, and they run all of the marketing for all of my companies. Check them out at imprint-digital.com.
And that was probably one of the greatest discoveries for my life's journey.
Was it at that moment that you discovered you wanted to be an author? Or had you thought about that?
Yeah, dabble, play, thought maybe it's a side gig.
Right.
And then during this depression, I said, I got to just go all in on this. AJ and I already had been in contact.
Okay.
And she goes, oh, I know the day you became the author.
What's up, AJ?
AJ, what's up? The one listener. AJ, what's up? So we were talking, and we already had done the Toilet Paper Entrepreneur, the first book, together. I had not become an author yet. It was during the pumpkin plan that I woke up one day and said, oh my gosh, I'm an author. I used to predicate, if someone said, what do you do for a living? I'm like, I'm an entrepreneur. I wrote a book too. And then one day I simply said, I'm an author. They said, do you do anything else? I'm like, no. Yeah, I happen to own some businesses and stuff, but that doesn't even come with the conversation. It was such a calling to be an author. That's the only thing I say I am. It's the only way I see myself, and everything transformed for me then.
How did Toilet Paper Entrepreneur do on your first run? Because you had some creative ways that you marketed it.
Oh, yeah.
Was it that, hey, if you write it, it will sell?
Yeah, I believe that, yeah.
And how did that go?
It's like crappy, right? Like 0 copies.
Did your mom not even buy one?
Yeah. That's the story I share. So launch day,
Yep.
I didn't even know what a launch was. I'm like, it's now listed on Amazon, so there's the launch. Let the sales come in. It's an amazing book, Matt. 0 sales. My mom didn't buy a book. That's kind of the joke, but it's the reality, because she didn't even know I was launching a book. When she did, my mom, this is the best. She, on a typewriter, she still has a typewriter. She's, we were talking about her. She's 90 years old today, or now. So she was in her 70s. She types up on a typewriter, says, my son has released a new book called The Toilet Paper Entrepreneur. It's available for sale. If you like a copy, ask me. She pasted it in her car window, and in her trunk, she carried like 5 books. And she went to the local Y for her yoga session. And when her and Beatrice and Olga would come out, she would make them come to the car. She'd point at the sign, and she made them buy books. Some of the
hustling, Mama's hustling for you.
Mama hustled. So some of the first sale, and my mom would say, "Oh, here's $20, Mike. You earned $20 on your book." My mom's amazing. So, but it did bring about fortitude. But I realized, this is a business. This is nothing is build it and you'll come. You know that.
Yeah.
Your jujitsu business isn't that way. Painting is not that way.
Yeah. So you're 20 years almost, right? And 10 books later, you sold over 1 million books. What are some tips for authors? Right, somebody's sitting here, they're about to write a book, thinking of becoming an author. Other than first identify as an author, what are some other just quick tips and things to really make sure you do if you're going to jump into this?
Yeah, and that reminded me, I didn't tell you, Painted Baby is our next book club book. So our company, about 15 people are reading Painted Baby.
Love it.
This quarter.
Awesome.
So if you saw a massive sales spike of 15 additional books last week, we just bought it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, man. Thank you. Yeah.
I finished that book because of you.
Your book's amazing.
Thanks, man.
My favorite story in your book is, it's a little draconian, but it's that car accident where the guy gets hit and no one's helping.
In Spain?
Yeah, in Spain.
Yeah, everything happens in Spain.
Yeah, well, because that's the only place you ever are.
Right.
But that was a powerful story that really landed with me. You wrote it. That's an author. You wrote it so well, so good. You wrote it so good.
I wrote it so good.
You wrote it so good. You wrote that so well. It immersed me, and the pictures were popping in my mind. So lesson 1 is do what Matt did. Write so that you're painting pictures in people's minds as they consume it. If you're not at that level, you're not experiencing it. You're not writing books that are going to be consumed. Books are movies that play out in our mind.
Yeah.
A lot of authors have great ideas, but it's just like, hey, idea 1, idea 2, idea 3, and it's transactional. It's not transformational.
Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a story about the business lesson with the business lesson in it.
No.
Like we talked about a car accident in Spain
Yeah.
and leaders going first. And
Yes.
how Haley did that had nothing to do with really business or leadership or anything. It was a fun, great story with that lesson embedded in it.
The lesson's in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't tell a story, just tell a story, because then the reader may have a moment of joy, but they don't get it. And you see sometimes a movie like this, they have a little scene. It's like, what was that? But you'll notice in a good movie, you'll see a scene and then the camera kind of zooms in on a pen that someone puts in their pocket and it fades out. And then the story continues. And they leave us a little hook. Like, why did you put a pen in there? Well, that's the murder weapon. You find out. Like,
Yes.
And a great book is written that same way, is that you have a story that emphasizes a point, but not necessarily in the point. We need that fluidity and connectivity. If it's so linear, it's like point, story to emphasize point, story, then point that relates that story. At a certain point, it's too transactional. So we need this fluidity. The second thing is when you write a book, put every ounce of your hump and soul into writing the best book on this planet.
Yeah.
It's sad now. AI has made it that garbage, meaning poorly written stuff, is zero. Bullshit costs nothing anymore.
Yeah.
And you can go on the web and read any article. I was reading an article recently. I'm like, God, this is so packed with superlatives and stuff. Like, did a human write this? I'm like, oh, no,
Yep.
it didn't. AI got the wrong name for the team on there as a sports article. It's like, okay.
We had a conversation with Jimmy, your AI robot, in the car.
Dude, you
for
wanna talk to him now?
20 minutes. That
Yeah.
would be funny.
On a podcast.
We could.
Yeah, let's pull him up.
This is an interesting app.
Yeah, so this is called Jimmy.
Is that his name, Jimmy?
Now it is. And let's see if he responds to it. The app is called Pi, P-I, .ai. And so let me get it activated here. Oh, I keep turning up my ringer. Hold on. I'm like, there it is. Do you hear that? Let me get it close to the microphone. Hey, Jimmy, it's Mike. Can you hear me? That's him thinking.
Hey, Mike, Jimmy here. Loud and clear, my friend. What's on your mind today?
Why does Matt Shoup wear awkwardly tight shirts? It's like very uncomfortable, and I actually feel a little bit harassed. What's Jimmy going to say?
Oh, boy, Mike. Well, fashion is a personal choice.
Yes.
And Matt might just be a fan of the snug shirt look. Or perhaps he's trying to flaunt those guns he's been working on.
That's
But
right.
If it's making you uncomfortable, maybe you could gently suggest he try a more relaxed fit next time you hang out.
But I just got one more question. I'm sorry, I pushed the wrong button there. But Jimmy, I feel really uncomfortable telling him he's wearing a awkwardly tight shirt because his nips are kind of showing. Is there a way for me to share with him that it's awkward for both of us? Let's see. Let's see what Jimmy says.
I understand your dilemma, Mike.
Yep.
Perhaps you could approach it with a bit of humor, saying something like, hey, Matt, those shirts are really accentuating your physique, but I gotta be honest, I think a slightly looser fit might be more comfortable for both of us. This way, you're acknowledging his style while gently suggesting an alternative that could make everyone feel more at ease.
Yeah, smart stuff, right? So that's AI.
Yeah. So, I mean, it could write an entire book.
It can write an entire book. And, oh, shoot, it's still on.
Why, thank you, Mike.
Jimmy,
He's just talking about the
Jimmy,
power.
you got to get out of here.
Jimmy, get out of my pocket. Oh, okay. So the problem is everyone has access to that. And so the standard has now been achieved. This is the great, I don't want to say great equalizer. It's just the new floor. So AI is the new floor. And what we need to do is devote ourselves to a whole new level of creativity, a whole new level of presenting. I know this, that AI won't be able to emulate human connection at the highest level. Yeah, this is cool. You can talk with it. It's kind of mind-bending, but it doesn't have empathy. It can't cry along with you. It can't feel that emotion. It can't have that intimate connection. And I think authors need to move to that. You and I have the greatest opportunity. When I was reading Painted Baby, I was in my bed. I don't wear underwear. I was nude.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Great.
resting your book on my groin.
Awesome.
You're welcome.
Now we're really explicit, Joey.
You're welcome. And it's an intimate moment. And in my mind, well, I know you, so I'm picturing you while I'm nude. But I'm reading these stories and it feels connection. Well, I feel connection. Great authors will, and I'm not saying I'm one, but will transcend that and allow that intimate connection to happen and write in a way where you reveal very personal stories to build my trust. I felt it. And that's what great authors will do and have done. It requires extraordinary effort. I think AI maybe will simply raise the bar on crap, and great stuff has to be raised as a result.
And how long did that take you to get good? Like, when did you feel as an author, like, man, I'm really dialed in on these stories? Because you got to practice it. You got to start somewhere. If somebody's listening to this, hey, I want to write a book. Never written a book. Never written anything.
Yeah.
Wrote anything. Where do you start?
Yeah. You just start writing. Yeah. Right? It's just like making paella. I was talking to Joey. He's talking about your paella dishes. Or it was Kevin, actually. Kevin's like, the newer ones are better than the older ones. I got to be honest. Mm-hmm. He's like, the last one was pretty killer. Yeah. And I suspect it's true. I mean, he was making light of it, but I bet you when you first learned to cook paella, it wasn't as good as it is today. I suspect.
Oh, yeah.
It's repetition.
It was a disaster.
Was it really? Okay.
Yeah.
Too much saffron or something?
I just didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you got to get started. So with authorship, same thing is you just write and you write and you write and you read. Oh, you got to, that's the other thing. Great authors inevitably are the biggest consumers of books. Great musicians are usually the greatest fans of other musicians. Yeah. I think that's part of it. Just write like the wind.
There's so many ways to get the book out there too. We were talking a little bit just about the model, right? You get a publishing deal, and publishing's changed a lot.
Yeah.
And now you can go put something
Did you
out
self-pub Painted Baby, or did you hybrid?
Yeah, I worked with Scribe, so they helped through the entire process. So yeah, it was a hybrid where I went under their publishing house.
Yeah, that's a hybrid. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
The model has changed. So I did self-publishing originally. Self-publishing is different than hybrid, is that you are the general contractor for the book. So I had to find a page layout designer and a graphic designer and a copy editor and all these different people, and you hire them independently. As a result, there is a little more income you can generate per book. I think, this is just my estimate, if a book retails for $30, it's kind of common in what we do, it's called prescriptive nonfiction space. You, the author, in a self-published book can net maybe $10 a book. Now you got printing costs, you have the distribution costs, you have to get all these different people on your team, maybe $9 to $10 a book. If you do a hybrid, they bring the team to you. So they've already assembled the team. You pay them a fee. It could be as low as maybe $25,000, as high as, well, the sky's always the limit, but maybe $75,000, somewhere in that range.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they bring in their team. And the idea is it's more efficient, and they're already qualified. They do this over and over again. So they're exceptional. They also bring in a distribution arm, which self-published authors can't do. So they'll bring in an affiliation through a thing called Ingram Spark or Macmillan or one of the big fives, like Macmillan is a big five, but Simon Schuster, something like that. Those books, depending on how you negotiate the terms, you can net $7, $8, $9 a book. Depending on the media format, if it's not print, if it's audio, maybe you can get even more, on a percentage basis at least. And then you can do traditional publishing. So I do traditional. I net on a printed book $3.50 a book, maybe $3.75. Audible, which is my biggest selling platform, I net maybe $3, $2.50 to $3 a book. Would you think you'd make more because there's no cost? It's just record it once. Yeah. Problem is subscribers. So Audible says this book is available in audio for $30, but if you're a subscriber, it costs $1 credit.
$1 credit is like $15, right?
Correct. Yeah. They assign $1 to it. Maybe it's 15, maybe it's 10. I don't know, but it's substantially less. So the author gets less. I am struggling to find a financial reason to stay with a publisher. There is the economic of distribution that some mainstream publishers still have an advantage. But I don't think it offsets the gains you'll make with a hybrid. So it's a real consideration I'm going through.
Love that, man.
Yeah. And it's kind of, I'm clearing my throat to get your attention. Because I'm not done talking about it. I got to keep talking. I told you, this is a disaster. I just came over. I take over your show.
Yeah.
I insult you throughout.
Yeah.
I'm talking about stuff I want to talk about. You ask a question. I'm like, no. Here's what we're going to talk about. And I just bring up nonsense. I've swore like 50 times already. I bet you it's been all edited out. I said the F-bomb, the C-bomb. I called myself a douche canoe. I called you a douche canoe.
Yeah.
This show is a disaster because of me. Like if there's one guest I wouldn't have on your show, it's me.
You might be the one we don't publish.
Dude, I wouldn't publish this one. Oh man. This coffee is amazing.
You've had too much coffee.
I have too much coffee.
Do you drink coffee normally?
Not in the afternoon. I had one cup this morning. I usually don't drink delicious coffee. This coffee is amazing. I usually just chug it as opposed to sip it. I mislabeled it. So you give me this coffee this morning. I'm like, don't tell me what it's in there. I'm like, that's pistachio. And you're like, absolutely not. It's cherry. And I'm like, it's pistachio. I'm telling you, it's pistachio. I am drinking it particularly slowly because in my head, I'm like, it's pistachio. You don't want to fess up. You're saying it's cherry. You're trying to convince me. So every time I sip it, I'm like, deny the cherry, accept the pistachio. I'm like, God, dude, I digress. This show sucks, dude, because of me. This room's amazing. The setup's amazing. You have a crew. You got these sick cameras going on. You've had great guests. I watched your shows. You have real conversations. You talked about your upbringing, the violence in your background, like some hardcore stuff, dude. And then I come on the show and it's like, who listens to you? Dude, you're going to lose every one of your listeners. Even AJ's gone.
AJ's out. AJ's out of here already. She's like, Mike, you guys are doing a podcast though. And I think I love the angle you have. It's like, here's why you don't write a book. Right. Yeah. So you gave some great insight on, man, you just got to start writing. Yeah. Tell great stories, tell compelling stories, know who your reader is, like have the end in mind, work backwards. There's a structure.
Thank you for getting us back on track, bro.
Yeah, man. Get your shit together, bro.
I know.
Come on.
Come on. God.
But why do you not write a book? Because you can write it for the wrong reasons. I know my first one for sure was.
Yeah, Better Business Card is the number one reason not to write a book.
Yep.
Filleting yourself, jerking your ego.
Yep.
Because you want to be perceived as the knowledge expert. Because you want to have a cliffhanger to sell your service. Like, I'm going to give them just a little piece, a little peek at what's under the hood, but I'm not going to give them the engine. Those are all reasons not to write a book. And yet that's what people do. They say, oh my God, you can make a better business card. You can do this. It is harmful because the vast majority of books are bad. And this is my judgment, right? So I invite people to place a judgment on my own books, and you may think they're bad. And if you do, you shouldn't be listening to the show. But
they're probably not listening.
They're probably not listening to the show anyway. Right. They're probably left by now anyway.
They left it.
Yeah, they say they heard Mike's here. Like, click. That's a bad episode. It's right. The douche canoe's here. But most books are bad. The exceptional books, but the other problem is bad books are being discovered. Because some of these bad books are being marketed to established communities, whatever those are, social media communities or whatever. And it's like, oh, here's content. And so the consumer buys it, not because they're going to think it's great, because they are a fan of that person. They see them as a celebrity. Like, oh, here's my memorabilia. This is my, it used to be, someone to give you a picture and they autograph their picture of them, their celeb shot. A book does the same thing. So people consume it. Then someone goes on TikTok and says, oh, I just bought this junk book. This is an amazing junk book, which I've never read, but here it is. And then someone else says, oh my God, if someone thinks that book is good, I better say it's good. Here's the same junk book. And it starts getting this echo chamber. So most books suck. But it's because those people aren't really authors, nor are they are concerned with that. They just want to get one of those better business cards, whatever. Yeah. Just want to have their name. There are a community of people. I would consider yourself. I hope I'm that person. There's a community of authors who really care about the art. They really care about the impact. They really care about creating something that is extraordinary and transformational for people. Sadly, a lot of those books just aren't making it. A lot of those books are out there and then no one discovers them. It just burns away. So AJ and I started that podcast, Don't Write That Book, to empower the people who feel called to write a book of significance that will put 100% of their soul into writing a book and then put 100% of their effort into marketing that book for eternity because it's necessary to get it out there. Yeah. And we want to dissuade people from falling victim or falling for all the other, book in 30 days and all that. AI can, I just went to a site, AI can spit out your book for you, just talk into a microphone for an hour and we'll do the rest of the book for you. It's crap because that's so easy. Everyone's doing crap.
If you've got junk in your life or business that you need removed, reach out to one of our sponsors, Hulk Addicts. They are a full-service junk removal company, and they'll be able to take care of you at your home or your business to get rid of whatever you don't want. Check them out at hulkaddictsjunk.com. If you're a Christian small business owner, you have to check out one of our sponsors, the Foundry Advisory. They are a Christian peer advisory community here in Northern Colorado and the Front Range that is designed to give you encouragement, support, and insight to grow your business with other like-minded Christian business owners. Not only are they a sponsor and a partner of this podcast, but I'm also a member of their community. Check them out at thefoundryadvisory.com. As a small business owner, one of the things we will always need to address is a space to run our business. If you're looking to do a small tenant finish, maybe even build a building from the ground up, you've got to reach out to one of our sponsors, Mendel Construction. They are a full-service commercial contractor that can take care of your business needs to build the space and place of your dreams to run your business. Check them out at mendelandcompany.com. There's an app now, I just saw this, it will record your voice.
Yeah.
You sit there and talk to it for 20 minutes, and then it will audible your whole book.
Yeah. Yeah, it exists.
Yeah.
Could you imagine singers that say, I'm not going to sing anything. I'm just going to have my voice and have some machine make that voice. They existed. They're called Milli Vanilli. They existed. And look what happened. We're like, that you didn't write those songs. You don't sing. No, it's fake. Blah. Yeah. And I feel bad for those guys because they were manipulated into that process. But we want the real thing. At the end of the day, if there is a degree of inauthenticity, when the consumer discovers it, it's like, what else is a lie? Yep. So those AI systems, there's a lot of tools out there and they can be leveraged for good. But when it's a shortcut, it is a shortcut.
Yeah. And I love all the insight that you're sharing.
Is this good finally?
Yeah. I think we finally got something.
Finally, geez.
How we doing, Joey?
Joey's going to cut this down to like
We're doing great.
The shortest podcast ever, right? Joey's going to be like 3 seconds.
Now, you also
okay.
You also have shared like some really, really great insight into speaking. Did you start speaking before you were writing? Were you doing that alongside writing? You were using that as a channel to sell books.
I did start speaking immediately before I had a book out.
Okay.
Speaking, if you're an author, is a great tool for learning how to teach a concept where it's consumable. So Profit First, which is my most popular book, when I originally had written it, it was a multiple more complex than it is today. It was overwhelming and confusing. It worked, but you had to check off a lot of boxes and do a lot of things. When I started speaking about it, people would just sit there and you just see them kind of glaze over and people say, I can't do this and stuff. Speaking forces you in a 45-minute or 60, or if you're a 75-minute speaker, in that time slot to get everything across, everything. So when I started figuring out how to teach Profit First in 60 minutes or less, the entire system, it brought it down to the essence. And when I had people saying, oh my gosh, I'm doing this. And then when I come back and get their numbers or present to them again, and people are doing it, that's when I knew I was nailing it. And then it's like, okay, this has to become a book. The fear people have, Matt, is if I start talking about this, they're going to take the word of what I'm doing is out there. I don't have my secret anymore, and people are going to steal this. I never see people steal stuff. It happens. It surely happens. But when you're putting stuff out there and it's not popular yet, it's risky for someone to steal it because it's not popular yet.
Yeah, right.
So you'd be surprised how few people steal unpopular stuff. Like pretty much no one does. So there's very little risk of putting it out there. I wrote about Profit First in the Toilet Paper Entrepreneur, just a quick reference. I wrote a Wall Street Journal article about it that, for me, exploded. There was hundreds of thousands of readers of that. And I put it out in blogs. I spoke about it hundreds, dozens at least, but maybe hundreds of times. before it became the book it is today. No one stole it. It's funny, when it came out and became popular, then people are like, oh, I thought I had the same idea. It's the envelope system. Yeah, it is for business. It's the envelope.
We were talking about that. You said you just get random crazy emails.
Dude.
Like, man, that was my idea. You stole it.
You stole my idea.
Right.
I so many, you stole my ideas. I thought of that. I wish I had written that book. And you know what? Everyone's 100% right. I didn't steal the ideas. This was, when I created it, it was based upon stuff I had learned. So the Profit First is the envelope system, meeting the pay yourself first principle, meeting other components. This stuff has been written around since ages. There's references in the Bible about monetary discipline, and these principles come from there. There's, in more modern times, The Richest Man in Babylon, Think and Grow Rich, Dave Ramsey, we were talking about him, The Total Money Makeover. All these people, they're regurgitating the same thing. It's a fresh skin. It's the same core principles. Profit First is the core principles. I just the dude who said, now let's put it on the skin of business. No one's ever done that before.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when Vanilla Ice came out with Ice Ice Baby. It goes, dun, 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 dun. That was Queen, and David Bowie wrote a song called Under Pressure. Ding, 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 ding. It's the exact same beat. And they go to Vanilla Ice. They go, dude, you ripped off a song. He goes, no, I didn't. Their song goes, ding, 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 ding. He goes, my song goes, ding, 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 ding. I added a ding.
It's new.
He's right. You know, the ice was right. That cracker was right. Dude, I am such a Vanilla Ice fan. A lot of people don't know I have a tattoo of Vanilla Ice.
You knew?
Are you kidding me?
I understand it.
You?
No. You don't have a vanilla.
Of course not. Could you imagine? I was pretty sincere looking though. Dude, I was doing a presentation. People actually thought this was true. I go up on stage. I said, my son invited me to do a Spartan race, which that's true. And I said, I went and did it, which is true. And I didn't finish, which is true. I said, but I was so believing I would achieve it that before I did the race, I got down my leg a tattoo that says Spartan. It's the size of my entire, from my knee to my foot. And I said, since I didn't complete it, from my knee to my thigh, it says almost A. So it says almost a Spartan. And someone's like, you have a tattoo up down your whole leg that says almost a Spartan? I'm like, no, it's a stupid joke. I say things, I can say things that sound real and they're so stupid. That's scary.
That is scary.
I just scared myself.
That is scary.
So no, I don't have a Vanilla Ice tattoo.
It's a good thing.
Yeah. I almost ripped off my shirt just to show you nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. What the hell were we just talking about speaking?
We were talking about speaking.
Well, I'd love for you to share a little bit of the concept of profit first. But like wrapping up speaking.
Are you stuttering? Are you so nervous about this
stutter?
interview? Yeah, you're right.
No, we're just all over the place. No, I have a lot of people listening. I'm just thinking of like 4 people this week that want to start speaking. They have amazing stories,
dude,
crazy
go
stories.
for it.
They've been on the podcast. And I just tell them, you got to go speak. And like your first 100 are going to suck. I mean, how many?
Yes.
When did you suck till?
First of all,
speaking.
I want to say thank you for letting me digress so much.
Oh, totally.
That's
I'll always bring you back.
Yeah, thank you. And it's fun for me. Like, I hope I'm not really trashing your show.
No, this is going to be an awesome show.
Okay. Oops. When it comes to speaking, what I found, first of all, get buddies that will be honest with you. You and I did this. You sent me a video once. I said, dude, never have the microphone cord on the outside. And that's
What'd you say? You said you look like a jabroni?
You look like a jabroni, I said.
Yeah.
I said, I've never seen a cracker walk around stage like that, with this thing flapping around. And I also think I said, that's the AV shortcut. That's lazy AV. It's like, just throw it on. Speaker won't say anything. You have to, as a speaker, demand that you are presentable. Because here's the, God damn, I keep creating this wire. The number one lesson that a speaker needs to know is you are not speaking, you are performing. And people confuse that. They say, oh, go up, say my speech. Maybe I'll rehearse what I'm going to say and I can do it from memory, or maybe I'll have a piece of paper up there on stage and kind of refer to it. That is the worst speech ever in general. You are a performer, which means you can act this out. You can walk away from the podium. You can simply do the ultimate form of performance, which is voice inflection. Martin Luther King was the master of that. He riffed I Have a Dream, by the way. I mean, it wasn't written down that way. He was reading a speech, and I think a colleague of his is like, tell him about your dream, tell him about your dream. And that's when he went into something he'd been preparing, like, I have a dream. His voice, if you ever watched that speech, dude, that's the ultimate performance. His voice is moving, and flowing. It's gorgeous. I strongly suspect that was rehearsed. I hope it was 100 times.
Yeah.
The greatest speakers are performers. The greatest speakers have their performance so well rehearsed, it is canned out the butt. It is so canned that it now transcends canned and comes back to impromptu. When I do my speech tomorrow to the Crocheters of America.
Is this your first time with the Crocheters of America?
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know that was a
community.
A community.
There's communities for everything.
That's awesome.
There's the awkwardly tight shirt guys community, which
that,
you're
right?
now a member.
Now I'm a part of it.
You're a part of it. You're the founder. Yeah. Yeah. I guarantee they exist.
Yeah.
And people congregate to feel acceptance and to share and support. It's the definition of community. So there's absolutely the Crocheters of America. When I go there tomorrow and I'm going to speak on Profit First, it is the most canned speech that I have. I've done it now approaching 1,000 times. And it will be so fresh tomorrow because when you get it so canned, you lose the necessity to remember or think about what you're doing. It just flows. And therefore you can grab the opportunities that will present themselves.
Yep.
There's going to be something that's going to happen. And I'm going to just like this podcast, I'm just going to go down my little path, be Mike, and they're going to love it or they're going to hate it. But it's going to be an expression of who I am. And that makes the performance a one and only.
Yep.
There was a dude, I don't know, famous actor, a stage theater actor. And he said, my job is to make sure that the audience from last night regrets not being here tonight. It's always elevating the game.
Yes.
So the Crocheters, man, they're in for the best performance I'm going to give on this subject ever until the night after. And then the bowling association and then the funeral directors, they're going to lose their mind because they're the third one in this tour.
What's been the coolest or most awkward or maybe group you've never thought of group that you've spoken to?
Most awkward was somewhere in Texas. I don't remember who the group was. I've never seen people so pissed. I walked on stage and I'm like, why don't you shoot me now? There's these big ass dudes up front, arms crossed and sitting staring at me, hungover like this. And it was so funny that I started insulting the audience, not like totally blatantly, but little digs just to entertain myself. Because like, I'm like, this is a go nowhere. Like I'm the worst speaker they've ever experienced. The rating sheet's going to be like, kill him. No one's going to do this. I think I was teaching Profit First. So I might as well have fun. That was the most awkward. The most unique community. I'll give you another. I think the most unique kind of funeral directors, I did do them before. That was funny because it was in Yankee Stadium, but not in the stadium because it was in a side room. And that was just a funny group because these guys are party animals. They experience pretty hard stuff. So you think they're going to be the most somber people. They're like, let's get wasted. I've had the privilege of speaking with minority communities, Black enterprise, female audiences. I think one of the greatest opportunities for me was I spoke with Black entrepreneurs. Is maybe 100 or 200 folks in the room. I was the only white dude. And someone comes up to me and is like, you're part of the family, man. I'm like, I'm in? They're like, yeah, you're in. And I was like, I love it. I'm home. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
What's interesting about different marginalized communities is they represent the greatest opportunity for our country. They represent the greatest opportunity for our growth. And we societally are diminishing them. The people that I met in that room was like, holy crap, there's some amazing ideas here. I spoke, this is the most awkward conversation, to the DEAF, DEAF, Society of Entrepreneurs. I don't know if that was the exact title. And I walk in and for the applause, when we'd like to introduce Mike Michalowicz, they did that audio. That's all that happens is this. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't even know what that is. Like that's applause in in sign language. As I'm presenting, there's no music in this room. They did audio of my voice, but they had 2 signers.
Okay.
And it was like one of those partition walls. There's a couple hundred people in this room, but there's a partition wall and there's another thing going on. And they had like this disco music, boom, bakata, boom, bakata, playing the whole time. So I'm listening to this music, presenting. I'm like laughing in my head doing this. And then I said something. I'm like, oh, that was total bullshit. And the person signs. And I look at them like, did she assign bullshit? And she does the same sign. Yeah, whatever it was. Yeah. She does again. I'm like, bullshit. And she goes, bullshit. Oh my God, bullshit. I did like 10, and they started laughing. And I was like, I got him. That was an awkward but fun presentation. My point is, there are these extraordinary communities. And I'll share one final thing. This coffee's really got me talking. Did you put something in there? Is there like LSD or something in there?
No, man, just the normal stuff.
You mean you're
Normal
really
Spanish
wearing
coffee.
a shirt that looks like that?
Yeah, I really am.
Oh my God, I thought I was on a trip. My God, dude, the way you dress. So, oh my God, it's a great story and I just lost it. God, I'm so stuck in my own stories. Whatever, it wasn't that good.
So what do you
I
want?
had a great tip.
Somebody that's wanting to speak though,
Yeah.
right? Other than just go do it.
All right, so
That's scary. That's scarier than writing. For me, that was to get up and speak.
yeah,
Just took a lot more than going and writing something. Because there's that fear to launch and fear
Totally.
to put it out with writing, but just speaking's different, man.
Speaking's
you're totally,
different.
You're totally naked up there.
you're totally naked.
Yeah.
The harder the audience is, the smaller the audience. And a lot of people don't think about this. Like, oh, if there was 200 people in the room, I'd be terrified. If there's 10,000, my God. The biggest audience I ever spoke to was 5,000. The smallest audience was 1. That was terrifying because as an audience gets smaller, it mandates that person is more engaged or at least perceives. Could you imagine the one guy in the audience that's listening to you sitting on his phone? He feels this societal pressure to listen to every word, to lock with eyes with you. When there's 5,000, people can be on their phone. The only onus is maybe on the few people up front, but everyone else do what you want to do. You actually feel that energy of, if I screw up in front of 5,000, they're not totally into it. It does require you to deliver an extraordinary speech, but when you're in front of one person, you got to deliver an extraordinary speech. So tip 1 is start speaking to small audiences. That's where you're going to cut your teeth. It's hard.
Yes.
Another tip is I started speaking at colleges before I had my books out. They are starving for speakers. You can call your local community college, whatever colleges, universities, public, private, they're in your area, and reach out to the clubs. There's a club for everything. There's a club for tight shirt guys. There's a club for entrepreneurs. There's a club for everything. So I called the entrepreneur club and said, hey, I happen to be in town. Do you want me to speak? Yeah, we need a speaker. It's in their charter often to maintain their status as a club. They have to have some kind of educational event. So I go, I speak. I did one event at UCI, University of California, Irvine. When I arrived, they said, oh, we'll probably have 50 people in the room. I'm like, wow, that's a big speech. That's awesome. It's a lot of people. Practicing. I get there, it's like 2 people. I'm like, where is everybody? And they're like, there's a fraternity party. It got scheduled today, so no one's coming. Inside, I'm crying. Outside, I'm like, this is the test, man. I got more money than God bullshit. This is my test. Deliver the best speech you can. And I started cutting my teeth that way. So I invite people, and you can do it. You can get gigs tomorrow. You don't have to have a book or anything. Just have a topic and learn and contribute and care and do it over and over and over until it becomes a performance.
I love that, just getting honest feedback from people that have been there, done that, and know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But you're going to get a lot of feedback, right?
You get a
Start
lot of
writing,
feedback.
Start speaking, but you got to consider the source too.
Oh, yeah.
Like what are the parameters you use to, like a business owner or the person that's never run a business telling you how to run your business.
Find people that are going to be honest with you. That's a rare person.
Yeah.
There's different levels of friendship. So there's acquaintance friendship that if I say something that insults you, even though it's caring, it's going to hurt you. There was a dude in my church. His name was Mike also. Mike. His last name wasn't also. It was just, just to be clear. His name was Mike. And he decided to leave his career to sell meatballs. So for our church, this is a true story. For our church, he would make meatballs. And the church would buy them. Now, there's a bias in this. Mike is part of our congregation. You want to help Mike, so you buy his meatballs. So he decides to invest his life savings, which was like $75,000, into renting a facility and getting all his kitchen equipment. And he said, the reason I'm doing this is I have the best meatballs on the planet. And I said, Mike, I want to tell you something because I really care for you. Your meatballs suck. And his face went red and he says, you are a douche canoe, Michalowicz. And I'm like, dude, I'm not saying this to be offensive. I just want you to know my truth because maybe it can help you. He goes, everyone else in this church says I got the best meatballs. And he goes, I got proof. Everyone's buying a pack of meatballs. I said, dude, wait until the next order comes around to see if they do it again. There's a certain point where you exhaust that sense of obligation.
Yep.
And it was second round of meatballs. He was selling these like 12 packs of cardboard meatballs. So it was, no one buys them. And then he's trying to go to stores and they're not buying them. And this thing collapsed. It is rare to find someone that's willing to tell you the truth, to call you out because they love you so much that they know the hurt in the moment is far outweighed by the love in the long term.
Yeah.
And those people are rare, dude. If you can find someone like that, hold on.
Just one.
Hold on tightly.
Just one.
Hold on loosely, I should say. Just one.
Dude, we're wrapping up.
Ah!
We're getting close to the end of our time.
I talk so much.
I actually remember what you were talking about.
What was it?
What was that?
You were going to tell a story about the like marginalized groups and how they.
That's right.
The
They had
impact.
the best stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joey.
Joey.
Is Joey the only listener? You had to pay someone to listen to your show.
Just Joey. Yeah. Just pay him
That's
over.
how trash of a show this is. You've one paid listener. You know, there's a thing called Patreon where people will pay you, but you have to pay people to listen to your show, Matt.
Yeah.
God. So Joey's right. Joey's right. The marginalized communities that I've had an opportunity to speak with generally have the greatest ideas. Here's what I've discovered. There was a story that someone said about people with disabilities, and they said why it's the worst word. They said it really is differently abled. I'm like, oh, that's so politically correct, differently abled. And then they explained it. Imagine every human being on this planet, Matt, was born with one arm. We all have left arms. No one has a right. Just that's how everyone is. But one dude is born with a left and right arm. That's the weirdo. That's the person, because the whole world would be designed around left arm people, right? That's normal. The reason a steering wheel is a round shape is because most people have two arms. But if everyone had one arm, it would be a whole different design because we need something to accommodate us. And then the person with two arms is now in trouble. The thing we have to realize is the majority rules simply because it's the majority, not because it's the right thing, and society becomes designed around it. It's these groups that are truly marginalized. Yeah, you have two arms when you should only have one, or whatever it is, that are said, you don't fit into the mass. The irony is they have something that the majority doesn't have. And inevitably, innovation, redefining industry is by doing what no one else is doing. It's by breaking the norm. So it's usually these folks that are forced to be on the fringe that have the best shit. So when I was speaking with the Black Enterprise, I was like, my God, this stuff is genius that some of these entrepreneurs were sharing.
Yeah.
When I was speaking with the folks who were deaf, I was like, oh my God, you can do that? I had no idea. I think their opportunity is for all of us to insert ourselves in communities that we're not typically in.
Yeah.
And you're going to discover the greatest things there.
I love that, man. Dude, thanks for sharing. Thanks for flying all the way.
Dude, thanks
out
for
here.
letting me talk.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah. It's an honor to be with you. Dude, I just spoke my face off. I appreciate that. I really do.
And I love the shirt. I'm going to wear it all day.
I hope
I'm going to wear it while I cook.
Will you
We're going
keep
to go
that?
eat some paella. We're going to eat some Spanish grub.
I'm looking forward to that. I hope you keep that shirt.
Absolutely going to keep it.
I hope you wear it occasionally.
Yeah. I get it back into the gym, man.
Well,
Gotta
maybe
get
this
on a
is
regimen
your
here.
calling. Maybe you can become the one person that can fit comfortably into that shirt.
Dude,
Maybe.
I love it. We're going to wrap up the
Yeah, let's
show
get
the
out of here.
same way. You grabbed your favorite color off the wall. Kind of a baby blue there. I didn't think you'd pick that.
I love blue.
Love it. What's the
the
sense
good
you
colors
want?
were taken. You have a lot of colors up there. You have a lot of guests.
We have
you have.
everyone. We have every color.
Every color. So, but you have to pick a unique color. This is one of the ones left. I loved it. My saying here says, be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. That's not my saying, of course. That's Oscar Wilde, who's attributed to saying that. I have it on my wall at home. I think about it regularly. It's funny. I always have stories, dude. I'm going to stretch your show for another half hour with this one. But guys, okay, just a few more minutes, I promise. I was talking to a guy who's a a big fan of my stuff. Very nice man, Jason Ruiz. I was talking with him today. We were connected through, coincidentally, I have a mutual friend, made a connection, and he's talking, and he goes, man, I miss your podcast. It was called Mic Up in Your Business. And I'm like, yeah, there wasn't any ROI. He's like, oh, I really miss it. He's like, you really should do a podcast again. I said, thank you. I said, but I'm thinking about doing this. And I explained the idea. I actually shared with you this kind of that mashup of Mad Money and stuff, right? Yeah. And he just said to something, he's like, oh, that's so Mike Michalowicz. I'm like, thanks, man. That's what I needed to hear.
Yeah.
That's be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. When the world says that's so you've gotten there. And as an author, when people read my books or to me in person, like these digressions into total nonsense, they're in the books. This is who I am. And what's nice is that consistency, the people who consume your content see that authenticity. They know you're the real deal. It's not one show here and a different show there.
Yes.
So that's an implication of this statement. Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. By the way, consistent with who I am, at the end it says, if you are reading this, I am being held hostage by Matt Shoup. Help.
Mike, dude, thanks for being here, brother.
Dude,
Appreciate
thank you, man.
That's a wrap.
Pleasure.
Hey, thanks for tuning into this week's episode. Would you make sure to please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel here? And please share this episode with somebody whose life it will make better.
Matt loves tight shirts, and I hope you can zoom in. Here, you want to put your nip in there? Oof. This will be a disaster, I promise you. It's going to be your worst podcast ever. Now you can do the introduction.
Are you a faith-based father and you want to have the adventure of a lifetime with your son? You have to check out the father-son hike of a lifetime on the Camino de Santiago in Spain. June of 2025, I'm going to be taking a small group of fathers and sons over to Spain. We are going to spend 6 days, hike 70 miles, have some of Spain's most amazing cuisines, see some of the most beautiful places and spaces, but most importantly, spend time together bonding with our sons. If you're interested in this adventure, check out mattshoup.com. When you get to the website, click the Gentle Art of Leadership button and hover down to the father-son hike of a lifetime.